12-year-old boy has been killed and a 14-year-old boy hurt in a shooting in Aurora today.
Happened about 3 o'clock near 10th and Zion. It's in the neighborhood just south of Children's Hospital, Colorado. Police are still there working at the scene hours later. 9 News reporter Jennifer Meckles joins us live from there tonight. Jenny.
Hi guys, yep, scene still up as of, again, 6 hours after this shooting. We're just west of I-225. This neighborhood of Aurora is called Jewel Heights, Hoffman Heights. This is just a residential street that is marked off at this time tonight. We're learning a little bit more about this shooting, but it's still pretty limited. Here's what I've learned in the last little bit. Police tell me that these 2 juveniles that were shot are related and that but we don't know exactly how they're related. I'm actually just getting a text as we speak right now from the Aurora Police Department that a person of interest has been detained, but they're not in custody. So I need to flesh out a little bit more about what that means, and yeah, we need to flesh that out a little bit more, guys, but that's what we're hearing from the PIO at this exact minute. So, okay, these two kids, they were in this neighborhood, 12 and 14. They were coming from a house. They were outside when they got shot. Police told us somebody fired shots from a car. It was a silver Acura sedan, and then immediately took off. The 14-year-old was injured, is still in the hospital with serious injuries. The 12-year-old was also taken to the hospital, but did not survive, and police tell us this was not a random crime. So, we obviously have a little bit more we need to learn. Let me get some more clarity on that. But again, the police are telling us that a person of interest has been detained, but just not in custody in this moment. I know that's confusing. Let me see what more clarity I can get in the next little bit, guys.
All right, update live as it happens. Jenny, we'll check in with you and see what's going on there. Thank you.
Democrats moved 1 seat closer to keeping control of the U.S. Senate tonight. NBC projects that Democrat Mark Kelly will be reelected in Arizona. So now to take control of the Senate, Republicans would need to both win the open race in Nevada as well as Georgia's Senate race, which is headed to a runoff in December. In the House, Republicans are slowly inching closer to the 218 that they need for a majority, but several congressional races, including one here in Colorado, remain uncalled. We'll check in on Congresswoman Lauren Boebert's race in just a few minutes.
The balance of power may determine the future of a lot of policies, not only here, but across the country. Those that are recipients of the program DACA, which among other things, protects college students brought to the States as children, are watching these results really closely. 9 News reporter Luis De Leon has more.
Here's this.
High school graduation for Jorge Rivera.
I feel like my eyebrows were a little too trimmed there.
Left him with some laughs, but more so, a new chapter.
So I went back to school and did information systems because data really appeals to me.
He was brought to the States from Chihuahua, Mexico at just 6 months old. With the help of DACA, he's now attending CU Denver, just a year out from graduating.
And obviously to have a better life for me and my family, and to make more money, and obviously to just get ahead in life. So
the anxiety that comes with an uncertain future for the program due to a Supreme Court case can be taxing.
So we get like emails. I'll wake up in the morning and it'll be, oh, alert, important DACA information. Honestly, it just raises a lot of anxiety not knowing what tomorrow is going to bring in terms of like DACA and my future.
And he admits, with many races still too close to call in the midterms, there's concern that the outcome of the elections could have an impact on the program and its recipients, known as Dreamers.
It kind of sucks that it has to be political, where literally where my life is going to be at.
In mid-October, several Colorado-based university chancellors and presidents signed a letter to the state's congressional delegation calling for permanent legal status for Dreamers.
Oh yeah.
Regardless of the election outcomes, Rivera remains hopeful.
Yeah, just take it day by day. Politics aside, we need to come together as a country so we could be able to progress.
Today I also touched base with the Colorado-based immigration rights group Forward, which, by the way, was started by a Dreamer. According to them, there are around 14,000 Coloradans that have been DACA recipients since the program's inception. Alex?
I'm glad you did this story because it just highlights how we talk about these elections, you know, ad nauseum, it seems,
right,
but there are lives at stake.
Yeah, 2/3 of that 14,000 number are in the labor force as of right now, according to Forward as well. So
it's a lot in our state. Luis, thank you.
Get ready to wait on the final result of Colorado's most closely watched congressional race at the moment between Republican Representative Lauren Boebert and Democratic challenger Adam Frisch. Boebert's 1,122 vote lead over Frisch did not budge today. She is 300 votes past what would trigger an automatic recount, but both campaigns say they are preparing for a recount. Boebert's asking for donations, warning of quote-unquote left-wing antics. Either candidate could choose to pay for a recount if it's outside the automatic margin. Democratic Senator Michael Bennet says he did not expect to beat Republican Joe O'Dea by 12 points. Bennett told me he expected to win by 8 points, which is either quite the humble brag, a sick burn on O'Dea, or just a straightforward assessment of a race that was not as close as national media outlets suggested. Do you take anything different out of this victory than your previous closer victories? Do you take some kind of mandate or charge from a victory of this size and the complexion of the state? Does it change anything about what you do?
Yeah, I think you know, I've now faced the voters in Colorado 3 times. This is the biggest margin, I think, in a Senate race since Gary Hart won in the Watergate year, and I'm glad to give him his due there because he's one of my, you know, political heroes. But I think that I ran on a very clear message that I believe that the era that was started by Ronald Reagan's trickle-down economics, that's been a 40-year Washington consensus that's made our economy so unequal and so unfair, created so much income inequality in this country that we're at risk of losing the democracy as a result, that I think I now have the chance to go back there and help lead the effort to move us in a different direction. And that's where I think Colorado is. That's where I think the American people are as well.
So you are headed back to an institution that best hope for Democrats would be that you have another slim majority like you did before, a system and a process that you've described as broken. So congratulations on 6 more years of that. Do you think anything changes as a result of this election in terms of the functionality of Congress? I
think that hopefully that the impatience of the American people with the Trump era, we were talking about a minute ago, an acknowledgement by everybody almost that this was a really good night for the party in charge versus the folks that were trying to become in charge. I hope that inspires people to want to work together to get something done.
You can see my full conversation with Senator Bennet on the next YouTube channel, where we discuss whether he would like to serve in the Senate as long as some of his very senior colleagues, and also what he thinks about the idea of Governor Jared Polis running for president.
Colorado is now the second state to legalize the use of psilocybin mushrooms. Prop 122 kind of just squeaked by the finish line today, receiving 51% of the vote. But it won't be like when recreational marijuana was passed. It'll allow people 21 and older to grow and share psychedelic mushrooms, as well as create state-regulated centers where people could go seek treatment and would be administered under a staff supervision. So don't expect to see shops where you can just walk in and buy mushrooms and just take it home to use. That is still illegal. Proponents say it was important that it was passed on Veterans Day since it has been proven to treat things like PTSD, anxiety, and depression.
Coloradans decided to say yes to this, and so now we have a chance to not only help as many people as possible get on that healing path, but also do more research and start to reintegrate the responsible use of these medicines into American culture, and it's an honor that we get to do that here in Colorado.
None of this happens immediately. You won't be seeing treatment centers pop up next week. After it's ratified, the governor will appoint a 15-member advisory board by January of next year. The state will then start taking applications by the end of September 2024 for treatment centers. So it'll be at least a 2-year process, which proponents of the bill say is intentional. They're not seeking to decriminalize the drug outright.
Voters shot down 2 of the 3 alcohol-related ballot measures this year, and the third is technically undecided. Prop 125, wine and grocery stores, is still close. The yes for wine and grocery stores is about 11,000 votes ahead. Voters rejected Prop 124, which would have allowed liquor stores to open more locations, eventually an unlimited amount per chain. Prop 126, third-party alcohol delivery, that also lost.
In Grand Junction, people were running out of their houses, thinking their houses were being bulldozed over.
The strongest earthquake ever in Colorado happened 140 years ago this week. Today, cleaning up that damage would be much more expensive.
And it's certainly chilly out there right now, but if you think this is cold, just wait until next week. It's going to be even colder. I'll talk about the details coming up.